What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about what you missed in Red Dead 2. If you don't know, I'm Bandit Barney, bringing you everything you need to know about the game and Red Dead Online. Now, if you somehow have been playing games for a long time and haven't come to the realization that you need to watch the credits at the end of the game, then you're learning today. Because at the credits of the end of most games, they have some good information and things that extend the story further, or some cool scenes that you can see. This is particularly true with Red Dead 2. Not just that, but there's also things that you can continue on doing as John after the epilogue, after the credits, at that point that interacts with past members of the game. So let's dive in. First and foremost, for you that have not played Red Dead 1, basically what happens at the end is in the credits, you see the Pinkertons, and the credits take about 30 minutes to get through, showing the credits and at times different scenes. You see the Pinkertons kind of asking questions and basically trying to figure out what's going on with John and Dutch and the gang and the shootout they know that happened that killed Micah. They keep looking around and they end up coming to John's ranch, where then there is no other scene. And you get to play as John after the credits, so they don't confront him, and you don't actually get to see them confront John. But what ends up happening is the Pinkertons end up turning into the Bureau of Investigation, and they somewhat blackmail John into his role of Red Dead 1. He starts fighting for the good side, but doing things that are almost just as bad. So you get to see what happens with John, essentially, in that storyline kind of building up. There is a small gap between the ending of Red Dead 2 and the beginning of Red Dead 1, but for the most part, you see how it played out. This, however, is not true for Dutch. Dutch is one of the characters that we don't know really what happens in that gap between Red Dead 2 and Red Dead 1. At the end of Red Dead 2, he shoots Micah and he walks off in the distance. And then you don't hear from him until Red Dead 1. So what he's doing during this time is kind of up in the air and left to speculation. Most likely, though, he's still doing bad shit, and most likely he still has a plan, and most likely you need to have some goddamn faith and just follow him. So Dutch is probably up to no good, but there's the little gap there that you don't know what happens with him. Let's dive into, though, some of the characters that have an actual story after the credits, which is nice to see that the story continues even after the credits. When you finish the credits, you get to go and free roam and keep doing your thing, and one of those characters that you can find again is Pearson. And Pearson, the cook for the gang throughout the story, is actually taken over the general store in Rhodes. And you can see that when you walk there after the credits, it says like property of Simon Pearson or whatever his first name is. And you can walk in. Him and John have a short conversation.
Just a little bit.
John Marston? I don't believe it! I thought you were dead.
Pearson, what are you doing here?
Welcome to my store. How can I help you?
Are you serious?
Yeah! Beats the old butcher's table, doesn't it? So what can I get for you today, sir? How the hell are you?
Pretty good. Got some land in Great Plains. Trying to get a small ranch going.
Really? Wow, good for you. Staying out of trouble then?
I wouldn't go that far, but I'm trying.
Who'd have thought it? John Marston. Wow.
It looks like things have turned around for Pearson and are going pretty well, but just to test it out, I wanted to see if we could rob our old friend. And yes, you can rob Pearson. You can take his and he ends up like, he's just like, okay, John, great. It's great to see that you've turned a new leaf and you're fighting for good now. Nope, that's not the case. Still robbing everyone, still as dishonorable as ever. One thing you'll notice while you're watching the credits is that John and Abigail get married. Uncle, obviously a big part of the epilogue, Charles and Sadie are all there. Now Uncle, he just kind of sticks around and does his thing, but Charles ends up leaving, and he leaves to go supposedly up north to Canada. other than that, we don't see anything else from him. He kind of just disappears into the Canadian landscape. Sadie ends up being injured towards the end of the story, as you know, during the shootout with Micah, and she sticks around for a little while. But then she wants to head off to go for a new life. Now, we know that Sadie is the character in the story that's kind of like she is a badass, all right? She's a badass chick, and she's been running bounties, but she, you know, I think the shootout kind of pushed her another way, and she wants to see some different changes in her life. She talks a little bit about South America, but we don't know exactly where she goes after the credits. Another character that you can actually see and interact with after the credits is Tilly. If you're walking around Saint Denis next to the trolleys, you can actually find her sitting and waiting for a trolley. Now, in the credits, you see her walking with her husband and her kid. So you know that she's kind of, the speculation is that she's kind of settled down and this is where she's living. And in fact, when you do go meet her, you find out that she's married happily and in Saint Denis, living in a home, which is a big improvement from the gang that was jumping around left and right.
Good morning, mister.
John Marston.
Miss Tilly.
That's Mrs. Tilly to you. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you? Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm well. Well and happy, and I miss you and Abigail.
She's well. Jack's well. All is well, I think. I never thanked you for what you did.
Oh, there's the trolley. I still think about all of you all the time. My life, it's different now.
Mine too. But I still see a bunch of Charles and Uncle and Sadie. So not quite so different as Abigail would like.
I married a lawyer. He's a fine man. We live in a house.
Us too.
I'm sorry, I've got to go. I'm late, but can I write to you and Abigail someplace?
Yeah, we're up at Beecher's Hope, over in Great Plains, West Elizabeth.
I'll try. Be well, John Marston.
One of the final characters that you can see after the credits and interact with is Mary, Arthur's previous lover, and you know that whole interaction between Arthur and Mary and things just really not working out. It's one of the better storytelling points of the game. It kind of brings tears to your eyes at times throughout the story. Mary, in the credits, you can see her over Arthur's grave and kind of reminiscing on their times together. Then later on, after the credits, you can find her outside the Rhodes train station, and she's got a book in her hands. And this book is actually hers because Mary has become a writer, writing romance novels. You don't get to actually read any of them, but she's writing romance novels. She quickly talks with John and they interact, and then she gets on the train. Now, I wanted to see if we could find out where she went afterwards, so I followed the train around, and to no avail. As soon as I got on the train, it had just turned the bend, and she just disappears. So I'm pretty sure after that, she just vanishes from the landscape, and you can no longer find Mary. But unlike that, Tilly asks you for your address. So Tilly actually plans on sending you updates and stuff and keeping in touch, but this is something that Mary doesn't ask for. She seems very interested and still enjoys John's presence, but she vanishes as soon as they have that conversation to never be heard from again.
John? John, is it you?
How the hell are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Abigail, is she?
She's well. Jack's growing up.
Sweet boy.
Not anymore. But he's okay. How are you?
I'm well. I write now. Silly romances, but it's fun. Oh, it's such fun.
Do you?
My pen name is Leslie Dupont. Sort of French, sort of ambiguous. Well, the books are unambiguously awful, but they sell.
Good for you. So proud.
I still think about you all. That was quite a time.
Yeah. Arthur saved my life. before he passed. I don't talk about him much, but I think about him.
Me too. And Dutch?
Ran off someplace.
All aboard!
Such a shame.
Last call!
Oh, anyway, John, I better get on my train. It was really lovely seeing you. Oh, here. It's for you.
Thank you. Take care now.
Bye!
One thing that I found really interesting and initially just kind of passed me by is that the characters Archie and Edith Downs. Now those are the people that were the son and widow of the guy that gave Arthur tuberculosis. So the son and the widow, the wife and the son, ended up going to California and creating a golf course, which ends up being actually really successful. Now I don't think you get this ending unless you complete the Do Not Seek Absolution missions before the epilogue, before chapter 6. So if you end up doing that though, you can see in the credits that these two ended up moving down to California and creating a golf course. You can find this in a newspaper clipping talking about their success down there. And that's going to end it with all the little tidbits that you may have missed at the end of Red Dead 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that sub button, and until next time, take care.